to the Thursday edition of Freedomlink Radio. I'm Joe Joseph, joined by my co-host, Gwen Caldwell. And Gwen, I got to tell you, I am absolutely livid today over some of the stuff that I read. I mean, and don't get me wrong, this stuff is old hat. I know it's been going on for a while, but for some reason, this posse comitatus thing keeps rearing its ugly head, and it only seems to be getting worse as time goes on.
Well,
you're breaking up, Gwen. Dadgummit. Anyway, guys, as Gwen tries to fix and remedy her connection, I want to bring to your attention a couple of things. And this broadcast tonight, it really goes out to two groups of people, if you will. And it goes out to the civil servants, and it goes out to active duty military. And the reason why I'm focusing on these people specifically is because if you want to see change happen, these are the people that can really push it. However, they got to get their heads out of their butts and actually figure out that, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm doing the wrong thing here. Perhaps I need to change course. Perhaps I need to educate myself in, the Constitution and what a lawful order is and what an unlawful order is. So, and what an oath means. And when you take that oath, you should be taking it seriously. So, with that said, I want to bring to everybody's attention this situation down in Miami-Dade County. Actually, it's in Homestead, Florida. That's in Miami-Dade County. They have what's called a security force. And this security force on July 15th, military police known as Security Forces Patrolmen detained a criminal suspect at a Circle K until Miami-Dade police arrived. Quote, "Crime prevention is everybody's responsibility. The better informed we are, the safer we can make the installation and the surrounding community," said Lieutenant Juan Lemus, Security Forces Police Services Chief. Yes, so who should be court-martialed and tarred and feathered and disemboweled and whatever else you want to call it. It's absolutely outrageous. So let me bring to people's attention, for those who don't know, what posse comitatus is. Posse comitatus was an act enacted June 18th of 1878. And I want to give people an overview of what that is. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, because it's really not that long, is I'm going to read it to you, what posse comitatus is. An act making appropriations for the support of the Army for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 1879, and for other purposes. Section 15. From and after the passage of this act, it shall not be lawful to employ any part of the Army of the United States as a posse comitatus, or otherwise for the purpose of executing the laws, except in such cases and under such circumstances as such employment of said force may be expressly authorized by the Constitution or by act of Congress, and no money appropriated by this act shall be used to pay any of the expenses incurred in the employment of any troops in violation of this section, and any person willfully violating the provisions of this section shall be deemed guilty of a misdemeanor, and on conviction thereof shall be punished by fine not exceeding $10,000 or imprisonment not exceeding 2 years, or by such fine or by both such fine and imprisonment. And then we go Section 375, which is restriction on direct participation by military personnel. The Secretary of Defense shall prescribe such regulations as may be necessary to ensure that any activity, including the provision of any equipment or facility or the assignment or detail of any personnel under this chapter, does not include or permit direct participation by a member of the Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marine Corps in a search, seizure, arrest, or other similar activity unless participation in such activity by such member is otherwise authorized by law. It is not authorized by law, folks. This is absolutely insane and illegal. Now, Section 1385, this is the last section of it, says whoever, except in cases and under circumstances expressly authorized by the Constitution or Act of Congress, willfully uses any part of the Army or the Air Force as a posse comitatus or otherwise to execute the law shall be fined and at blah, 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 $10,000 or 2 years or both. So basically what it says is no, active duty military cannot police the public, not in that way. Now, I will say this. The National Guard and the Coast Guard do not fall under posse comitatus. They don't fall under posse comitatus because they fall under the state. And the government, the state government, can dictate in a state of emergency, they can call up the National Guard, and the National Guard can aid in such an effort. But this is an Air Force base we're talking about. This is not the National Guard, and this is not the Coast Guard. Gwen, are you there?
I am.
Oh, goody, goody. So what do you think about all this?
I'm sick hour. And the blatant violation of oaths of office.
Yes, it most certainly is.
It's a crime. I mean, it literally is a crime. And again, Joe, every week, every time we're on the radio, I have to ask, where's the outrage?
Yeah, where is the outrage? It's totally missing. So what I want to do first is I want to read to people. This is from the office, the U.S. Office of Personnel Management. Okay, anybody can go there. It's opm.gov, and I'm reading directly to people the oath that every civil servant takes when they take on a position of, servitude. It says,
The Constitution of the United States comes first.
Yeah, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter, so help me God. The problem that I have is civil servants and active duty military don't understand what their job really is. And their job, first and foremost, is to do the right thing, to support and defend the Constitution.
Which is about the people. It's about the people.
That's absolutely right, Gwen. It is most certainly about the people. And that what they fail to understand, and which is the big misconception now, is that we serve them. And the opposite is true, folks. Civil servants, the reason why it says servant in the name is because that's what you're doing. You're serving the public interest. That's what you're doing. So you would be doing your job, let's say, if you are a vanguard of the taxpayers' money, if you're a vanguard of the taxpayers or the people's rights, and don't trample on them. Because it's getting ridiculous. They are enacting and they are putting in place martial law covertly. That's what's going on. And it's freaking outrageous.
Joe, I'm very concerned about many of the videos that I saw come out of Afghanistan, but more particularly out of Iraq, where it was my understanding that our military personnel were told to shoot at civilians, training for the streets of America.
Unbelievable, Gwen. We'll talk about that when we come back, folks. Don't go away. You're listening to Freedomlink Radio here on the Orion Talk Radio Network. You know, folks, sometimes I wonder if we do live in like Doctor Who land or the Twilight Zone, because some of this stuff is just so absolutely unbelievable that it blows my freaking mind. And, Gwen, you were talking about the things that the policies they're instituting in Afghanistan, shooting civilians and whatnot. And it's just outrageous. And this stuff isn't just happening here, folks. I mean, it's all over the world. It really is. The power grab. The power grab is, I mean, they're in full force, aren't they, Gwen?
I'm very concerned because it's been, to this point, it's been pretty insidious. But now they're not even trying to hide it. It's not even, I mean, the agenda's just so right in your face now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they're not even trying to be discreet about it.
No, but why? Why do they have to be? No one's paying attention. I mean, there's a very small number of us.
Right in your face.
Yeah, absolutely. Right in our face. Hey, you wanted to highlight an article today, didn't you?
These
No, you're breaking up again, Gwen. You're breaking up. Yep, you're breaking up again. Try and reconnect with me on the phone, and I'll bring you on that way. But folks, one thing that I want to bring up, and just so we know, just so everybody understands exactly what's going on here, I would like to showcase this other law that came into about by Lord Romulus Emmanuel, and that is the fact that they are imposing a curfew on 12-year-olds in the great city of Chicago, and if they are found in violation of the curfew, the parents are fined $500. And also, the 18-year-old, it's 18 and under, but what was funny about the article is they were highlighting the 12-year-olds had to be in by 8:30. What the hell country do we live in now where we have this people telling us when we can be outside, when our kids can be outside? What if, and this is just a hypothetical situation, what if I decide that I don't want my kids to be day dwellers, I want them to be night dwellers, and that we sleep during the day and we do our things at night? Are you telling me that my kids can't do that because all of these bad apples, it's the old saying, one bad egg spoils the dozen. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, sure, that's it. So my freedom has to suffer because all of these other parents can't control their kids. Because you have a bunch of freaking thugs out on the street. And, oh, by the way, Chicago just happens to have one of the strictest gun laws in the nation. And because of that, people can't defend themselves. Oh, but leave it to the government because we could take care of that for you. You know what we'll do? We'll impose a freaking curfew for you. So now everybody's on house arrest. Have some. Gotta love it. And it's just sick. If it's not taking away your rights, you can't travel freely. Screw the Fourth Amendment, oh, by the way, that allows you to travel freely. Or so we thought. Screw the Fourth Amendment, right, Rom?